Hey guys, it's Cindy. Today I'm going to be filming the 12 books that I want to read in 2018. So if you want to see what these books are, please stay tuned. So basically what I'm going to be doing with these books are I'm going to be writing their names, and I already did actually. I'm going to write, or I wrote, one of the names of each of the books, and I'm just going to like put them all in this mason jar, and each month for my monthly TBR I will be pulling one of these and I will be reading that book that month. So I'm going to go ahead and dive in. These are books that I really wanted to read in 2017 and I did not get around to reading them. They are books that I have heard amazing things about, and a lot of people talk about it and say that it was their favorite books of the year. Before I start, I am wearing like a really deep purple lip, so I feel like I look a little off colored. I look a little like, not a little, I look really yellow, but my sister says I look normal. But I've also had this like big light on for like the last half an hour and I've filmed 2 videos already, so it might just be me going blind and not just me looking weird. I don't know, but I'm gonna go ahead and dive right in. So the first book is Dress Codes for Small Towns by Courtney Stevens. I've heard amazing things. I've heard Books and Lala love this, and I also heard Chelsea Dowling Reads finally, I hope that's right, talk really highly of this, so I'm so excited to read this one. The next book is also one that not only was the cover probably my favorite cover of 2017, but it is just such a gorgeous book, and I've heard the story is equally as amazing. It is Wild Beauty by Anna Marie Miclemore. Again, I've heard really good things about this and I cannot wait to read this one as well. I have to stop saying that because obviously I feel that way about every single book here. The next book is one by an author that I've actually met before, but I never read his books when I met him. I just got my book signed by him. So this is The Serpent King by Jeff Zentner, I hope that's right. And as you can see, this book is signed. I absolutely love him. I think he's gorgeous. Me and my sister were just like, is he an author when he walked in? Because he was like super cool with his shades on, and like, what did he have on, like a motorcycle jacket? Yeah, like a motorcycle jacket or something like that. But he was super cool looking and we were just like, who's that? And sure enough, he was an author there. And basically, I've heard such great things about this. I believe it is Julie from Pages and Pens and again Chelsea have spoken of this book very highly. I haven't heard too many people rave about this, so I'm sure it's like a hidden gem. So the next book is one that I've heard literally everyone say that it made them cry at least one time. I know a lot of people say that they've cried like 6 times while reading this, and I do not cry very easily during books. I went into a Monster Calls thinking that I was going to cry like a baby, and I did not cry. And it's not that I don't cry easily. Like, when I watch movies, I will be the first to cry. Like, no lie. And not just once, but like repeatedly every time something happens. So this is the book, The Names They Gave Us by Emery Lord. I love this cover. I know the other cover, I think it's like the UK paperback one that's like white and it has a tree on it as well, is like really beautiful, but I love this like watercolor aspect. It's absolutely gorgeous. Now this book is going to hit my heart very badly because it has to do with cancer and people going and grieving, and I can't wait to read this, but I also hope I don't have to read this when I'm like at school and I can read this when I'm at home. So we'll see what month I actually have to read this book in. This is a book that I haven't heard that many people talk about. I don't think it's YA. I think it's more like an adult novel. It is Her Body and Other Parties by Carmen Maria Machado. I've heard amazing things. This has to do with the abusement of women's bodies in like different formats, and basically it's like a series of short stories all written by the same author, and I think this novel is going to be a great read, and it's actually going to be something that's going to be a little bit more difficult to read based off of the topic. But I heard like a segment in here is also just like Law and Order SVU retellings, and like I love Law and Order SVUs, so I don't really know how that's incorporated in here, but I've heard people talk about it, so I'm really excited to read this one. So the next book is actually one for my book of the month unboxings. It is The Power by Naomi Alderman. I've heard a lot of people talk about this book this year. It actually, I was looking at Barack Obama's like best of 2017, and this was one of the books that he absolutely loved. And I heard that this is written in like a very weird format. It's written kind of like in a history book, recalling like when this happened, when women were becoming so powerful, and like it's told in the future but about the past. So I think that's really interesting. I love when books are told in like different formats than what I'm accustomed to. So that's The Power. Another heartbreaking novel that I'm thinking of picking up is Far From the Tree by Robin Benway. I've heard great things about this. It is an adoption novel, and I've heard it's absolutely beautiful and heartbreaking. Apparently a lot of the books that I'm trying to read are more like deeper contemporaries, because that is absolutely what I love. And I don't like just like, I love fluffy stuff every now and then, but I also love a lot of things that have a lot of deeper tones that aren't mentioned as much. So I'm really excited to read this one. I know this won some sort of book award this year, and it was just like everywhere. One of my favorite books that I read in 2017 was Simon versus the Homo Sapiens Agenda. I absolutely loved that book. I loved Becky Albertalli's writing. I've met Becky Albertalli. I think she's absolutely such a sweetheart. She's amazing, and I haven't read anything other than Simon from her. I'm so excited for her new books that are coming out with Adam Silvera, as well as her own novel, Leah on the Offbeat, I believe it's called. So the other book that she has out is The Upside of Unrequited. Again, I've heard a lot of people talk about this book, a lot of people being able to see themselves in the main character, and I absolutely love books that like have rep for people, like that you can actually see yourself in this book and not just like another straight skinny white person that's represented in so many other books. So I'm really excited to read this. I love her writing, so I know I'm going to absolutely fly through this one. I've heard a lot of people talk about this book. A lot of people that I follow absolutely love this, and I haven't heard anybody say anything bad about this, and it was a lot of people's like favorite books of 2017, so I decided to go ahead and put it in my pile for 2018. It is The Hayden Game by Sally Thorne. I've heard amazing things about this, since it is like a hate to love romance, and that all the times isn't done well. And I heard that it's just like a really, really good book, and like the sex scenes in here aren't like cringy or weird, and it's just done very well. A lot of people reread this book like a lot. So I'm really excited to read this one, and I really hope it's good, because the expectations for this are like very, very, very high. The next novel is one that took YouTube by a storm. It is already getting adapted before it was even published, and so many people loved it. It was like at least top 5 for everyone that I have watched this year. I didn't get around to reading it. I believe it was one in my video for like the books that I wanted to read during the summer, but I just did not get around to it. And it is The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas. I had the opportunity to go meet this author, and I'm so bummed that I could not do it, but I already had prior obligations to go to a concert with my sister, and she's like sitting right there, so she was like staring at me. But I've heard great things about this, and it is a little bit of a thicker novel, but because it has such deeper themes, and it has to do with police brutality and racism, and I cannot wait to pick this one up. I do hope I read this one maybe on like school break, but then again, we'll see what my TBR jar tells me. Okay guys, so I only have 2 more. So half of these books, the reason why I wanted to read them so badly was because they were so hyped up, and not by everybody, but basically by the 2 main people that I always talk about, the main 2 people that I watch religiously. So the next one is one that Chelsea had been talking about for a while, and basically she said that she could really see herself represented well in this novel with the main character's bisexuality, and I think just like character in general. And it is Little in Line by Brandy Colbert. This is a book that I've been wanting to pick up because of the bipolar rap. Not, is it bipolar or schizophrenia? I can't remember. I believe it is bipolar disorder. Yes, bipolar disorder that is represented in this book. I love books that have to do with mental health, and especially like ones that I'm not too familiar with. Like recently I read a book that had to do a lot with anxiety and depression, and although it was not the type of anxiety that I personally have, I really liked seeing her anxiety portrayed in a novel, and then, you know, like OCD and everything like that. Like I've been trying to read a lot more books that have to do with different mental illnesses, and when they're done properly, especially when it's just like an Own Voices novel. I'm not sure if this book is Own Voices, but I've heard that the book is very well written. So my last book that I want to read in 2018 is one that could basically fight with Wild Beauty for my favorite cover of the year. I haven't heard that many people talk about it. I'm not sure if it's not that well written or if people just haven't been picking it up because it's not by, I don't know. I really don't know why people haven't been talking about it, but it is Autobiography by Christina Lauren. I have seen it in a couple places, but I've only seen people haul it. I haven't heard anyone say that they love the book. So I heard that this book was compared to Simon versus the Homo Sapiens Agenda, and like I said earlier, I absolutely love that book. So I felt like I had to pick it up. I mean, I love the cover, and I am looking for another, not replacement to Simon, but something just as well written, it's just as comparable, that's going to make me like fall in love with the novel. So I really hope that this can do it. And I hate when like books are compared to something else and then you go with like these high expectations expecting not the same thing but something similar to it, and then it's just not like that at all. So I don't want to compare that to Simon and be like, oh, this has to be just as great as Simon was, because it's not. Like, not that I'm saying it's going to be bad, but it's not the same book, it's not the same story, it's not the same author, so it's not really a fair comparison, but that's exactly how it was sold to me. So we'll see how that book turns out. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. Those are the 12 books that I want to read in 2018. Hopefully those aren't going to be the only 12 books I read in 2018, because I want to have a very good reading year overall. I want to read a lot of diverse books, a lot of overhyped books, just like a lot of books in general. I want to do better than I did last year, but I also don't want to push myself and stress out too much about it because it is going to be a crazy year for me. So if you guys have read any of these books, please let me know what you think in the comments down below, and I will also leave like my Instagram and my Goodreads down below as well if you guys want to check those out, and I will talk to you guys next time. Bye!